With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at meistercon.com or on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got singer, songwriter, dancer, choreographer, Teria Morada with me. So welcome. Teria, did I get it right?
Teria Morada.
Yeah, I'm probably.
You said it with a perfect Virginia accent.
Oh, could you tell that there's a little accent there?
It's perfect though. Like that's like my thing. Like I love accents. I love languages. So love it for real. If you know me, you know that about me.
I always knew that I had an accent, but I didn't know until I started doing this podcast and I started talking with people out of the country or on the West Coast, and they were all like, "Where are you from?"
And then some places I have the accent, right? They're like, "Oh, I can hear Canuck in there," or they're like, "Are you from New York? Or are you from Canada?" They say.
Canadian.
Yeah, but sometimes it does come out, and sometimes I don't know. I think because living in different places, I have like different lingo and different accents.
You can probably choose your accent. I haven't figured that
out.
I'm all West Virginia accent all the time.
It's all good. It works for you.
Degrees. Like if I'm talking to family, it's much stronger, but it's always there.
That happens.
Well, so let's start this way, because I want to talk about Bon Voyage, but before we do that, let's talk a little bit about what got you into music. What made you want to be a singer?
Well, I was dancing since I could walk, and I was already dancing for so many different things. And a few times I was like, I would just love to dance to my own music. But for me, at the time, I thought it would be easier for me to sing and write lyrics than to actually make beats. But then I found out later that I could actually make beats too. And I can play some instruments, not a lot, but I can put it together any which way. But I just wanted to dance to the rhythm I was already dancing to in my head.
Right.
And then I just started making music. And some of my people were like, what happened? Like, cause everyone knew me as a dancer. And so one day it just opened my mouth and a voice came out, and some people thought I was like, not me. And I was like, no, it's me. I've been working on it for a while, real quiet. And then boom, musician, singer. I think I'm an entertainer, but I have little facets.
Well, I like that. I like that. Well, you're an excellent dancer, but in my opinion, you're even better singer.
Thank you.
Really good. Really good.
I don't get that all the time. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, you're really good as a dancer, and this is coming from somebody that can't dance a lick. So I'm very appreciative of people that can dance.
Thank you.
But your voice, amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So do you actually choreograph for other people or just your own stuff?
I choreograph for a lot of people.
Figured.
Yeah. Yes. It's kind of like I'm the Paula Abdul of the North, a bit younger. Serious. People used to call me that when I was younger. They used to call me Little Paula because I started choreography when I was very young.
People forget. Well, maybe not now since she did American Idol there a while back, but people kind of forgot that she started as a dancer.
Yeah, choreographer.
Yeah.
The LA cheerleaders, Lakers. Yeah. Legendary.
Yeah. She still dances pretty good, I think.
I know. Like she's getting tossed around big. Like I do lifts because I'm a former gymnast and lifts are part of our thing. So I always try and incorporate, but she does some crazy, like throw herself off stuff. Yeah.
So where did you make that decision? Because I know you did the rhythmic gymnastics like at a pretty high level, but when did you make the decision to go with dance over that?
Rhythmic gymnastics has a short shelf life. Your body, especially when you become like a woman, it's difficult to do some of the stuff that we are required to do. So I had an amazing career. I was the dancer first and then became a gymnast and maintained my dance. My dance teacher at the time was married to my gymnastics coach. So they bounced me around a lot, and that got me crazy training, which led me to championship status actually. And then my body was just like, okay, we're done. and I grew and I continued to perform, but I was still in dance. And then I went to High School of the Arts where I did dance program as well. And music just started to come in after that. But like I feel like I was an entertainer, even though I was a gymnast and an athlete. When I would step on the floor, I would put on a show. And I think I tell my students, because I still teach gymnastics, I tell them, you know, I was a great gymnast, but I wasn't the best gymnast. I had crazy difficulty, but I was the best performer and I would outperform people. And that's how I became a Canadian champion. And people are like boggled by it because they don't emphasize on the performance as much anymore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to re-inject that into the sport since I've made kind of like a return to my sport. But I was the entertainer from then.
Do you use any of those moves when you perform? You know,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what kind of I think maybe sets me apart from some other performers, because I have this other stuff in my background, and I have some performances where I have teenagers that were my gymnasts that are now moved on to dance, where they join into my ensemble for certain pieces. So like they see that there's like a life of performance after sport.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
With their teachers.
What was your best part of rhythmic gymnastics? What were you the best at?
Rope.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one seems like a hard one to me.
It is a hard one, but I had the right coordination. I still have that coordination for it. I was the last couple of years the La Bamba girl, because my music was La Bamba with no words. It was the guitars, and everyone knew the music, so they were like, "Oh, the La Bamba girl," and I was sorry about that. I was undefeated in that routine for 2 years that I had it. Rope and clubs were my thing. The hard ones.
Very nice.
Well, I wasn't that graceful,
but I saw your hula hoop, so I thought maybe.
Yes. Well, I was actually really good at that too, but I think that I excelled and I actually liked the rope and the clubs, probably because of the challenge. And I wasn't as graceful. I was like a power gymnast, so ball and ribbon were not my thing. But as a performer later on in life, as a belly dancer and as a Bollywood dancer, I would do a lot of ribbon as per request. And I knew how to work it in a way that everyone would love it, but it wasn't like, whoa, because it's usually in small spaces. But I could work it and make it graceful. And I got more graceful, I think, once I got a little bit older too. But I kind of evolved, I guess. But yeah. I would say rope, hands down.
My granddaughter, and she's just 3, but she's got a recital coming up for dance. So her first one comes up here in a couple of weeks. But she would love all the purple in your background. That's her favorite color. Yeah, she would.
Purple hair.
Awesome. How do you get Latin dancing and then go to like Bollywood and belly dancing?
Well, I have a very simple explanation for you. Being it that I am from Toronto, the most multicultural city in the world, I have everything at my fingertips. And with my luck, whether I was doing some street dancing or technical dancing, I was in every community. Not only that I come from a multicultural family, but and with entertainers and artists within us, but outside I could do anything. And sometimes, especially for belly dance and Bollywood, my friends' dance companies would be short a dancer and they'd be like, look, Morada, purple, come here. You need to learn this choreography right now and perform it on this big stage. And then like the next day I'd be at like Kodak Theater performing with a Persian singer, just regurgitating choreo, not really knowing what I was doing, just hitting the choreo and filling in a spot. And then they're like, hey, you're pretty good at this. Keep going. And then all of a sudden I'm soloing. And now I'm like researching. And now I know. So now I'm doing choreography. And now people are asking me to choreograph for them. In the States and in Canada.
Yeah, that's really impressive. And belly dancing, that's not easy.
It's not. I do have that in part of my culture. I did grow up watching belly dancers, but really didn't take it on until late in my 20s last year. And so it took, I didn't do it my whole life, but once I started to do it, it's mine. It's like another little thing that I do. I do it on the weekends a lot of the time. I perform. I did this Saturday. I performed at a party and I did a belly dance show.
See, I love that because you've got like you're taking what you're talented at, but you're using it in multiple ways. I think that's great. You're finding all these different routes that you can use. I mean, I guess if you're in gymnastics and dance, you've got that body control anyway. So then it should lend itself to these other things. too.
It absolutely does. And I'm allowed to sometimes mix and match everything, where like 4 continents championships, I will have choreographed some pieces and then I will go and sing one of my own songs at a gymnastics event. And sometimes I have someone competing in there as a student as well, because I figured that my whole entire life has been revolving around arts. So it still does. Like I have a gymnastics life, a dance life, a music life, and sometimes they all combine together.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great. No Olympic competitions.
Yes, I've choreographed for some Olympic Canadian teams. I never went to the Olympics. I retired because every 4 years. I retired at 15 in Rhythmic. I would have had to wait until 17. My body was changing, and
isn't that
I didn't
crazy
want to.
that 15 and you're already kind of aging out of?
And you know what's funny is that there's some gymnasts, like there's one gymnast in Canada, she's 26, but she maintained that tiny, thin structure. And there are some people that make it till their 20s. They really do. But you know,
that's
it's
hard
funny.
On you.
It's when you have an ethnic body, sometimes it develops a little quicker. In school, I was the last person to wear a bra, to have a booty. And then I was the first one in gymnastics. They're like, oh my God, you know, she's a woman. So it depends. Like it was weird, but I had to deal with it, and I still got to perform. So I was pretty cool with that.
There was a time in 6th grade. I was in 6th grade, and I grew 6 inches in a year. And for like one summer, I was tall, but then I never grew again. One summer, by the fall, they'd already passed me. I haven't grown since.
Well, it happens. I stopped growing. I was like at 5'3", you know, I was like, and that was it. They wanted like us a little bit taller and thinner in rhythmic gymnastics. And I was a little bit shorter and more like an artistic gymnast. But because I was a junior and I was a junior champion twice, like I was fine with
that's amazing.
Getting out when I did.
That's very high level athletics.
Yes. The senior champions, like the difference between us was obviously they were more experienced. They were older, right? But we were on that same level. And the people that won my first year and my last year of winning were legendary gymnasts. Like in our rhythmic world, for me, like I grew up watching them. So it's really cool to hold titles at the same time.
That is really cool. Yeah. I kind of love that. Is there a cutoff? Like, is there a certain age where you have to, you know, step out of juniors, or do you just decide?
Oh yeah. Yes. No. At the national level, I believe it is 14 or 15 now. I'm not 100% sure. They do bounce it around, but it's around the 14, 15.
So young.
You must go senior. So on the senior level, when I was young and doing I think I was 12 and 13 that year, and then 13 and 14. Right. So when I won so the girl who was winning, she was in her last year and she had won like 5 or 6 Canadian championships, Lori Fung, and she was like 20 something. And there's now new seniors that are 15 years old or 16 years old that are popping into that category, competing against the Olympic champion because she won the Olympics in 1984. So she, you know what I'm saying? Like she was,
when you were like heavily training for that, how long were you in the gym each day?
During the week, night, Monday to Friday, minimum 3 hours, but I'd already had like 2 hours of dance at school as well, and ballet, sometimes 4 hours. And then weekends was high performance training at a certain center, which was Seneca College at the time. And it was 5 hours, 9 a.m. call on Saturday and Sunday, which was hardcore ballet and hardcore training with the high performance coach, which wasn't always everybody's main coach, but she was my coach previously. And then I switched coaches, and then I had to go back there to train with them. So it was crazy, but it was intense. But you know what? That shaped me as an artist, and my work ethic now as an artist, I grind. And I think that because of that.
Well, that's kind of when you're doing something 7 days a week, you're grinding. Because your body, that's hard to do. You need a rest day.
I did it for years. Now I take my rest, but I'm known to keep going and going and going. But I have learned to take a break here and there. Sometimes life just makes you sit your butt down as well.
Well, so at what point did you say, okay, I'm going to give the singing side a shot? When did you decide I'm going to try this profession?
In my teens, I was already dabbling with the idea, and there was like a restaurant that had recording booths in them, like for, I don't know, for what, so everyone wanted to be a singer, I guess, in that time. So I would like sing along to tracks, and I would hide these tapes in my house, and my mother would steal them and go in the car and listen to these recordings with my aunt. They were like, that's not you. That's not you. And I'm like, it's really me. And then I had to build up the confidence. And then a couple of friends of mine that were singing in shows that I was in choreographing for, one of them heard me sing Happy Birthday. The other one heard me sing this. And they're like, okay, you need to sing. So they started to kind of push me into it. But I'd say like by my late teens, I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't really jump it until my mid 20s. And then I just took off and went to LA, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to LA to be a dancer and to dance in people's videos. I'm going to make something. And I did. I performed so many places. I danced. Don't get me wrong. I was dancing everywhere. For all the entertainers, I was the entertainer. Okay. Like all over.
But you got to make a living while you're trying to establish.
Of course. And then what better to do than my thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I just really like started to get in the studio and started taking it a little bit more seriously. And the experience of being in the studio with different people every time, and writing a certain way, and learning how to record properly. And I learned as I was going, but I got in the studio, let me tell you, with some crazy people.
Oh,
so
I bet.
I learned. Yeah.
Well, that's what you do. You just keep adding to your toolkit until you're able to do it on your own.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride, and the ride is like, I feel like it's not like it's just beginning, because Lord knows I've been on the ride for a long time, but it's taking on another right now.
Yeah.
Bon Voyage. So I feel like we're on the next chapter. The best is yet to come.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So the newest single is Bon Voyage. It came out on the 12th of May, I think.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What's the song about? You know, what inspired you to write?
That song had been playing in my head for many years. I wanted to do as many languages as I could fit into a conversation. I actually have a conversation in the original version where I'm having a hypothetical conversation with someone, and I'm saying each progression in a different language. And one day I sat down with a couple friends of mine, and we started playing around with the song. And then I sat down with a producer, and then I said, listen, I have this playing in my head, this instrument, that instrument. I want to bring in some of my cultures. I want it to be a Mediterranean fusion. I want it to be fun and like summery and all these different things. And we got that done. And then that version caught the attention of a former producer I had worked with many moons ago. He came to a listening party I had during COVID on Clubhouse of an album that I put out during COVID. My only album I've ever done. I put it out during COVID with some old stuff and some new stuff. And he heard that song, and he was like, I have bigger ideas of this song. So he redid the beat in his way. And kind of we fine-tuned some of the lyrics. And then we brought on junior winner Chocolare to give some urban spice. And there's Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, French, Arabic, Greek, and English all mushed into one tune. And
I mean, if you can make music with all those different cultures, you think we could get along better just as a people.
Right? You know, I love, when I do a show, like when I do like a Teria Morada music show, I take a little journey, and I'm hitting like different, like my own countries, but then stuff I've learned, like Bollywood stuff. Like when I do a Bollywood festival, I will throw in a dance break or a little part of a song that's in Hindi, and, you know, everyone goes crazy. But I grew up in that dance community, and I'm respected in that community, and they bring me every year to be like their non-Indian headliner. You know, and I try and fuse our culture somehow. And I do it every year, some different way. Man, it's a ride. I love it. I love the whole multicultural thing.
I love that too, which, by the way, there's nothing better than watching like a Indian wedding where they do the dance, and the groom and his, you know, groomsmen do the dance stuff. That's amazing. I love that stuff.
My babies. I love it too.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's really great. So we listened to Bon Voyage. We had our first pool party Friday evening. It was just family. It was mostly grandkids and the family stuff. But that's what we played because I wanted to see what their reaction to. The grandkids loved it. Because it's it's got a real catchy beat to it, and they were bopping around. They're all young, but
That's so
it
nice.
it was a big hit.
A lot of the kids and my students, I play my music and I don't say sometimes that it's me, and usually one will catch it right away. That's you, right? Or I'll watch their reaction, and everyone sings along to the song, no matter what their nationality is. I have Russian, Ukrainian, Chinese students, Persian, singing in Spanish, French, Greek. Everybody's singing each other's languages. It's all one big happy family. It's really fun. It's really cool. So I'm so glad you did that.
Like a great summer song.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Well, my wife normally controls the music, but she added it to her playlist and stuff. So we'll be hearing more. Yeah. Well,
amazing. Thank you.
There was some other stuff I liked. You did one that was like boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's it. Yeah. That we really like that one too.
Yes. That's with Shakira's song Rabiosa and Loca, Loca, Loca.
Yeah.
He those are his tunes. The guy I sang with on Boom Boom Boom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wrote those, and he's on the Spanish versions of those.
Well, now I got to go back and listen again and see if I can.
Yeah. And we collabed on our own little fusion song. I went to the Dominican. I actually wear this jersey in that video. Represent.
Nice. Very nice. I was going to ask you, did you do a video for Bon Voyage?
Ooh, yes. Ooh, you haven't seen the video?
I haven't seen the video yet.
Go on. Oh, you got to go on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of lyric videos and stuff as well, but the official video is out, and we love it. We worked hard on this one, and this I think is the best video to date. You've got to check that one out.
Well, is it one where you're just performing, or is there like a storyline? Or are you like acting?
There's a storyline. There's a storyline, and the main character besides myself and Alonso and Chocolare is Disco, who's a dog.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
and a soccer fan. So there's a soccer fan, and there's Disco the dog. He plays a big part in the video. So you got to check that out.
Yeah.
My choreo, my students, my professional dancers, our friends, family, like we this was a joint effort. We came together to make it happen.
I bet they love that. I would love that as a teenager to be in somebody's video. That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I told them, you know what? I told them when they were young. I said, if you guys really want to dance later on, when you're able to drive yourself to gigs, I will, if you maintain, like if you keep going, I will put you in. And I kept my word. And I have some girls that I've had since they were 8, and they are now 18. And they are part of my dance company.
Still teaching dance.
Yeah, no, I still teach gymnastics. I have a competitive gymnastics team that, and I usually demonstrate almost everything that happens. Unless it's uber flexibility, that I can still do like splits. I can still kick my face, but I don't like arch back as far and stuff. Like there's some stuff I'll pick out someone else to demonstrate, but anything dance related, I do completely full out. In gymnastics, I'd say 70%. I do full out.
Amazing. If I could kick myself in the face, I would do it. I would only do it one time, and then it'd be the end of me.
Night out. Yes, yeah, I know. But I've been doing it my whole life.
There's no way that leg is ever getting that high.
I wonder if I have a picture back there. Not right there. But you know what? It's something that I've been doing my whole life, and I've only really taken one break. Like I've had like little breaks, like a week here, a week there, but like a break, like life forced me to take a break. I had to take a break for medical stuff, and I had to take a couple months off, and that was really tough for me to get restarted because I'd never taken a break where I couldn't sit in the splits like comfortably.
Right.
I was like, what's going on? I had to like retrain my splits. Like I could still do them, but it wasn't comfortable. Yeah. And so I had to like really retrain myself. And again, I like this summer, I performed at like 2 Indian weddings, and I did a ribbon routine. Like they asked me for gymnastics because somebody was missing from their roster. And they were like, oh my gosh, we're one dancer short for contemporary. Can you come in and do your ribbon in the middle so we can kind of fix it without the client noticing? So they thought, well, you put a pretty ribbon in front of the client, and the client's going to be like, oh, that I'm all for it. So even sometimes without even hearing the music, I would just like, okay. And they tell me what to wear. I go out there, ponytail, and I would just turn my gymnast on. And I wouldn't do all the whole back flexibility stuff, but I'm in there doing like the tricks, the illusions, the flip to the knees. I'm in there doing it. My body remembers. So I don't think I'm going to do that this summer. Like I think I might be done with like full out gymnastics shows because I really am focusing on music now, but definitely still in the mix.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What instruments do you play?
Ooh, little tiny bit of percussion, a little bongo, a little
nice. You can't do
tambora,
Latin music without bongos.
and a little bit of piano, a little guitar, like very little, like very little. The music, the things play up in here.
Well, I was going to say you probably can do enough where it helps you with the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes the writing, like sometimes people will give me music and they'll say, write to this. And I will put the music on and usually dance around to it. And then all of a sudden the story starts to come. And then I invent something based off of something.
I love that.
And it just happens. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. So what's what's coming up next? Or is the plan to eventually release like an EP or an album?
Yes. So we are done pretty much the EP. We were entertaining the idea of another song because there was like maybe another collaboration that could be a possibility. But if we don't do that, I believe that we're ready to put this EP out in the summer. There are 3 new songs, a couple of remixes,
That's pretty awesome.
and all of them are dance, pop, Latin.
That's what you want
fusion
for the summer.
Yeah. And like wicked collaborations and great sound, like a very nice, crisp sound. Yeah. Very danceable.
Yeah, I would say that about your music just in general. It's very very crisp, and it kind of like it immediately energizes you. Whatever your energy level is, it's going to be higher once you listen to it.
That's amazing because I'm known for like a lot of energy. Sometimes I'm a little too much for people. They're like, okay with the energy, but if I can transmit that through my music, that's great. I just want to see people smiling and having a good time. Like just forget your problems.
Are you touring at all?
I do have some local stuff going on throughout the summer. However, I am performing in New Brunswick, which is another province in Canada. At the end of the summer. I've done this performance a couple of times. This year, I'm doing a double whammy. Yep, I have a dance background in Tropicana, the Cuban cabaret, not in Havana, but Havana came here and did a show, and I started out is in the background, and I eventually led up to lead performer and choreographer. And I basically grew up in that. And they caught wind of that last year. There's a Cuban DJ and he saw some of my stuff, even though my Teria Morada music is a little bit more fusiony. It's not like Cuban or Colombian or anything like that. It's just like, it's like a mix, but he caught some stuff and he came up to me after and he was like, we need to talk. So the organizers called me up and they said, can you bring me a mini Tropicana? And I said, yes. So Tropicanada is going to make their debut, a small ensemble with the Teria Morada music show. My dance company or entertainment company is Azúcar Picante Entertainment, which means spicy sugar entertainment. And so I'm going to do a 2-set show. Set 1 will be Azúcar and it will be Tropicana Cuban style cabaret. And I'm choreographing that. I'm not dancing in it. And on the other side, I will be in my own show, Picante, which is the spicy part, Teria Morada. And at the very end, we're going to come together, both ensembles, and do what I already do is I do a conga line, but I do like a modern kind of conga line. But we're going to kind of take it back to the old school. And we're going to bring that 1950s Havana thing to the end of the show and really do like the old school Cuban and then the new school Teria Morada fusion. That's like pretty much my whole life on a platter. So I'm going to bring 10 people with me. They've already, put our contract up and got our tickets. And we are flying out to New Brunswick to do that this summer at Summer Salsa Caribbean Festival. There's an African day a Latin day, and a Caribbean day, and we are headlining the Latin day.
I love that. Yeah, festivals are the best because you get such a mix of music. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty great. That's pretty great.
I'm excited.
Do you have a favorite Latin food?
Tacos.
Oh, well, that was easy.
Yeah. No, anyone who knows me knows that tacos are my favorite. Tacos and guacamole. Yeah. Sorry, I'm realizing I'm making a lot of noise over here. My bangles. Yes, I love tacos. I have a taco place right down the street where I live, Mexitaco. I perform at another location that they have, but literally they're right over here, and I can walk over there and get tacos anytime.
See, that'd be dangerous for me. I need the taco places to be driving distance away, or I'd be there way too much.
But you know what? If you have 2 or 3 regular, like real tacos, like I'm not talking no Taco Bell American style. I'm talking real tacos, right? And you have like 2 or 3 corn tortillas with some meat and some avocado. That's not a fattening thing. If you're having,
that's actually not bad at all.
If you have 15 of them, or you're getting the fried ones, or you're putting a lot of condiments and stuff on it besides salsa and cilantro and cebolla, you know, then you're gonna be like, okay. But if you have
we tend to put cheese and sour cream on there too.
like Mexican crema is like, I guess, sour cream, but it's better. So there is crema too, but you have to like be careful and not kill it with the crema. But if you put just the salsa and avocado, even though avocado is high in fat,
that's the issue I have with American restaurants, because they drowned it in like sour cream or crema, and it's way too much. You just need it as an accent.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you make your own, like if you make your own at home, and you could have a few tacos and you'll be good.
My wife's father is Mexican. He was born in Juarez. So she can cook some Mexican food, which is awesome. And I'd much rather eat at home than go out to eat here in West Virginia, but we don't have a very good, kind of Latin Mexican food selection here. You go out to LA or Austin, somewhere else. You got plenty.
Listen, LA, even Toronto, we're getting better in Mexican food. But LA, I lived in Mexico too for a while, in Guadalajara. And let me tell you, there is nothing like Mexican street food. So tacos on the street, I'm telling you, you need to try.
That's what she said. She took a trip to Mexico City not too long ago. And that's what she said. She said those were the best, were the ones you just get off the street.
Good stuff.
We got to stop talking about food. That one was my fault. That one was
that's okay. I'm good. I love food, so I like to cook too.
I like to eat. I'm not much of a cook.
I'll like to eat too.
Press me, but I prefer to eat.
I like to eat as well. However, I'm not a traditional cook. I will not follow too many recipes. I like to throw things
together. That's the way to cook.
Right? So
and every time's just a little bit special.
Like, I'm not a big pasta person. I don't like red sauce. I don't like tomato sauce that much. But I'll make a Mexican flavored pasta and I'll be like, woo! Like with cilantro and those things. But I also like meat, and I like to mix up the spices and make them Indian and stuff like that.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
So when's the EP coming out? Is that just later in the summer, or do you have a date?
We don't have an exact date. We are looking for later in the summer. I think it depends, because Bon Voyage just took off, literally.
Right.
And so like all this, like we're just getting settled into this new movement. So I think it depends, but sometime in the summer. Also too, like, depending on a few things, I guess you could say, opportunities may open up in August as well, that we might have a function to put out the EP. And if it's like a big to-do, then maybe we'll make sure we get it done by a certain time and make sure it comes out before the summer's over. But I think that we really wanted to get Bon Voyage out for the summer. So that was the most important thing. But we'll see what happens. Like, I think we're going to kind of play and feel it out. But I'm really happy with the songs, and I think that you will like them as well in the next pool party. If you play some of the songs from the EP, the kiddies are going to love it, and the adults.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
This
you
one
so
was
much
just
for that.
family, so we had all the grandkids there. But
that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. That's usually the test. I'll play it for them. If they dance, And they're all, the oldest one's just 4, so they're all young.
Oh, so
Yeah. If they
cute.
dance
But that's when
around
you
and
really
stuff.
know.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's when
because
you really
they
know.
don't lie. At that age,
Exactly.
you get exactly how they feel. You know, if they don't like it, they just wander off.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. 100%. I
Yeah.
know exactly what you mean. I love it. That's awesome.
Have you ever considered acting?
When I was younger, I did do the commercial acting, like Sears commercials, Kool-Aid commercials, things like that. And then I got braces and they didn't want to see me. And I got back into it a little bit and I did little extra parts, especially as dancer in some movies. And then I auditioned for a theater performance and I wasn't sure that it was really my thing. But when I got to the audition, I like knew that the part was mine. And then all of a sudden they threw me this script and I was like, it was about a dancer, but it was really challenging for me to read the script and interpret it properly because I didn't have a lot of experience and it's not my passion. I'm going to be real. A lot of people think I should be an actor because I'm an animated and all that, but
Well,
I
yeah, that
don't
was
like
kind of
to
what
be
I was
told.
thinking. Yeah.
I don't like to be told, oh, do this. This
You
is
need
what
to
you
improv.
see is what you get. Improv, maybe. But a friend of mine passed away a couple of days ago and he was the improv king for me. It's like he was a comedy guy. And you know what? I look at him and I'm like, how do you do that? I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could
It's
do
hard.
it. It's not my
Yeah.
passion. Also, like my passion is to create music and dance and to
You
perform and
almost have to
entertain.
have a passion for acting, I think.
Yeah,
Because it's that's hard.
I think if it was like being somebody, like maybe like interpreting somebody specific, like Paula Abdul or J Lo or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to leave that up in the air because I'm not going to say never because you never say never because you're going to put your foot in your mouth. But I'm not 100% sure. We'll leave it open.
Yeah. I think that's smart because you never know. The right role may come in. You may like, I guess I'm an actress now.
Like the theater show was the right role for me to get my feet wet. And it was really a challenge for me. Not that I don't want the challenge because I love challenges, but I'm just not sure at this point that I'd be doing that. And I think that show specifically is coming to a show, like they're doing it in Vegas.
Yeah.
But I'm not there at this time. I'm really focused on the music thing. Yeah. And maybe in the future.
That's right.
If George Clooney says, hey,
that's
will
right.
you come over?
Then you have to go. Is there a musician that you would like to work with?
There are so many. And one of my favorites is not here with us anymore, which is Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because he was such a talented dancer, or performer, I guess would be.
Like Janet would be an interesting combination. But you know what would be cool? I would love to do a collab with the singer dancers out there, like Paula Abdul, like J Lo, like Shakira, and like Jasmine Guy from back in the day. Like, there's because I grew up with, like, George Randolph was my dance teacher. So like there was a big connect to that TV show in the dance world back then. And so I grew up watching that Debbie Allen kind of thing. So I would like to do a collaborative thing. Like if anything, like J-Lo and Shakira, like I feel like I'm a little bit of both of them, watching them, grow up and stuff like that in the industry. I think that something like that would be kind of interesting. But I think my number one would be Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I know. There's too many we've lost way too soon. Just too many talented people. But yeah, he's got to be near the top.
And Prince, but that's a whole other ballgame. That's a purple thing that we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah, I miss Prince too.
Yeah,
that was both of those way too early.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, yes, there's too much of that. We get robbed of some really talented people in the entertainment.
Just a couple of days ago, I'm telling you, we just lost the comedian from Los Angeles, and I spent most of my time laughing at him. And then, you know what, I was finding like some pictures and videos of us and stuff like that. And it was a nice trip down memory lane, but definitely gone too soon.
Yeah, I hate to hear that. Well, so what's coming up? What's after Bon Voyage? Do you have plans for another album or more music? What's the plan?
I think I'm always going to make music. I don't know in what form it will come out in. I wasn't really thinking about doing an EP after
Yeah.
the album I put out in COVID because I thought, okay, COVID kind of messed everything up though, like the momentum of that album. And I
Yes.
made a lot of mistakes too as an independent artist. I learned the hard way about some things.
Sure.
So I was kind of like here and I was like going to try and just perform and do some stuff, you know, and keep writing and collaborating, but not necessarily put an album. And then Alonso Mendez kind of came up with the idea of doing an EP kind of based on a vacation type vibe, like
Yeah.
Bon Voyage, and kind of building off that. It turned into a vacation dance kind of vibe, which is totally cool, but it evolved and it keeps evolving. So it is what it is. When it comes out, I think it's going to do very, 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 very well. And what happens after that, I really don't know. I definitely see collabs in Bahamas. I see collabs in the States. I have friends in different places in Brazil. I'm talking to a friend now in Brazil who's like, you know, and I've done some of these collabs already, but there's more coming up. There's guys in Spain and Netherlands, you know, that we're talking about doing more collaborations with. So I know that's happening, but I'm not sure album wise. So again, I'm not going to say, I don't know.
You're going to be busy though.
I think so. I think so. I hope so. I just really want to perform. I want to get out there. I want to be able to get out of the country because Canada knows me now. And I want to, you know, I want to do Canada. I want to go through Canada as well with the new show. But I definitely want to go abroad again. It's been a while since I've really gone to perform out there. I really want to go to Asia again. I've been to China and Korea, but I've been seeing streams from Japan in my Spotify and Apple Music. And I'm like, you know, I feel like Japan and I would click. So who knows?
I wouldn't have expected Japan to love Latin music, but
they do. They love pop. They love dancing. There's J-pop, like K-pop. And in Korea, I went to do a Korean contract where it was all Latin. It was all Latin show that we took there, right? So there's definitely, and China
music's
too.
kind of universal though.
Yeah, in China too. I was there dancing Brazilian. I was there representing Brazil, and then they extended my contract, and I ended up singing and doing a bunch of other choreographies for the rest of my contract. And it evolved into something else. But the crowd went crazy.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's so great. Well, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time with us. This has been terrific. Big fan of yours.
Thank you.
That music is really good. I wish that I was a better dancer so I could do it justice.
You can learn.
I got to watch. You know, there was some good dancing going on. It just wasn't coming.
Yeah. I'll send you some dance videos because we have a little dance that goes with Bon Voyage.
Yeah.
So I'll send you that little dance and you can maybe try it out with your grandkids and make it a thing.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's basically what they do on TikTok. Yeah, I'll have to
so then send me a video after that. I want to see it.
All right, deal. That's a deal.
Thank you so much for having me.
If nothing else, it'll give you a good laugh. And you're so welcome. You have to come back. Maybe when the next thing comes out, you got to come back and give us an update.
For sure. And if I'm ever out that way, I'll let you know.
Oh, you please do. Yeah, because we'll be there. We'll be there. If you come out this way, we're there.
Awesome.
Or maybe we'll come to Toronto. You never know.
And you got to try the food here. The tacos, the pasta, the everything. The poutine, French, Quebecois food.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have, my wife's a big French fry.
Oh, there you go.
I know
what
she's also a gravy fan. So
wow, poutine heaven.
Yeah, you've got it. So a couple of little things before we wrap up.
Sure.
I think we've touched on it, but anything else you're working on that we can keep an eye out?
Well, some stuff that's local, like my gymnasts have provincial championships this weekend, but that's more of a local thing. Thank you. They are training tonight and getting ready. This is their final week of training. I think that mostly just keep looking out for Bon Voyage to make some moves. There are various variations. There are a few different versions, the remix and just keep your eyes open for the EP because I think it's coming to a theater near you very soon. And watch the video. You got to see the video.
Oh, I'm watching that as soon as we get off.
It's total fusion.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, so last thing before we go, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, teriamoradamusic.com, Teria Morada Music Instagram, Teria Morada Music Facebook, Teria Fans with a Z on Twitter. And if you just Google or Brave or whatever search engine you're using these days, if you put my name, Teria, Teria Morada, Morada, you will find me.
Yeah, you were super easy to find. Put it in, you were the first one that came up. So
yay!
Yeah, really
finally.
I know it's a little different. Like if you put in Michael Wall or Mike Wall, there's like a billion.
A billion Michael Walls. I'm starting to notice that they recognize me like on Google as an artist, as musical artist, Teria Morada, and on Spotify, I'm a verified artist. But Facebook and Instagram, Facebook and Instagram won't verify me.
That's silly.
I don't know why. I keep trying to get in there. Now you can pay for it. I'm not paying for it. I'm the real deal. I want it.
I'm sure they'll listen to me. They'll be like, there's some guy, a podcaster, want you to verify
this crazy Canadian artist. Thanks for trying.
Yeah, I'll give it my best. Okay, hold on 1 second. Well, how fun was that? Teria Morada. She says it a lot better than I do. Love the that kind of Latin pronunciation. I think it's just beautiful. But with my West Virginia accent, that's the best you're going to get. Do yourself a favor, though. Go and check out her music, especially Bon Voyage. I love that song. It's a great summer song. But her music, unbelievable. I can't wait to watch the video because I know how good a dancer she is, and that should be a lot of fun. So definitely check her out. She's real easy to find. Just put the name in for whatever social media you're searching. It'll come right up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. We definitely don't take you for granted. We appreciate you so much. If you're finding us for the first time and you'd like to support us, we could definitely use the help. It's real easy to do. It's free. If you prefer to watch, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. Really helps us out. If you listen to your podcast, just wherever you're listening at, whatever application you're using, just subscribe there. That'll help us as well. We are putting out episode 591, I think, today. You can get all of those audio and video on our website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there if we're doing anything in studio or if we're going on location, if we're covering a convention, anything we have going on, it'll be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.